So many people have asked me what's going on in Japan. They have messaged me, they've tweeted me. They want to know because what happened, it's not only unusual, but it's very unique. I'm going to be brief. I haven't written anything down, so I'm just going to explain it the best that I can in the simplest way. There is this organization that it's funded by public money, taxpayers' money, and an internet user who goes by the name of Hima Sora Akane has been searching how this organization has been using the public funds, and he found something suspicious. And this is where I get into the story, because 3 years ago, I messaged this organization because I wanted to interview them. I wanted to know in the specific what their work was about. I wanted to interview possibly the girls who were abused and hear their stories. This is part of my journalistic work. There's nothing special about it. But what's special about it is the answer I got from them. Instead of a welcoming letter saying, please come anytime, or like, this is the time we're available, like just the fact that I was a guy, I wasn't welcome there. I'm just a journalist. I didn't come there as a guy. I'm just a journalist. I'm writing a story. I didn't understand what my gender had to do with this. As a matter of fact, I found it strange and I left the story there. I didn't pursue. If I don't see what you're doing, there's no point for me to ask you questions and receive answers that I cannot verify. If I can't verify what you're telling me, I mean, I can't write the story. And so this is the connection that I have with this organization. So what Himasora Kane found out, he was suspecting there was a misuse of public funds by this organization. And he requested to the Tokyo metropolitan government, you have the receipts, show me the receipts, show me how they're using their money. The metropolitan government answered them, and they sent them some documents, which is, it's fun. He makes fun of them. They call us nori. Nori is like this algae, completely black, because the documents that we received were almost lots of parts that were blacked out. They were censored. So we asked, what's going on with this part? One of the answers they gave them is like, look, this is private parts we cannot show. But then they also said that they had lost some of the documents. They didn't have it, so they couldn't show it to him. And so from there, the story picked up. So he wouldn't stop to search and ask for receipts. So he wanted to see how they're spending their money. Not just this Colabo, there's other different organizations outsourced by the government. He wanted to check if the actual government, the Tokyo metropolitan government, is verifying how the money they're sending out to these organizations is being properly used. And what he found out so far is they're not really doing their job. They're not really checking every single receipt, how their money is being used. And this is the core of the scandal. And this is why this story can get bigger and bigger, because if just one person on the internet was able, just by staying at home, like we all are, like searching on the internet, he was able to find a misuse of funds, well, then what about all the other government organizations? So how are the Japanese taxpayers' money really used? And why isn't the government who's sending this money out verifying how these monies are being used? So this is what this lone internet user is asking. So he's doing actual investigative journalism. And this is the other part of the story. And that is that the mainstream media is not doing his job, because this is a huge story. As I wrote in one of my last articles, we don't know how deep this rabbit hole can be. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of these public organizations. How are they using their funds? This is taxpayer money. Are they being verified? Apparently not. It doesn't take much, because all you need is the receipts and compare it to the money you've been sending out. So this is not particularly a Colabo's problem. Could be a problem related to all the public organizations in Japan. And this is why the story is so huge. And the scandal, of course, about the media, the mass media here hasn't covered the story at all. Yeah, of course, after I wrote about it, some article came out, but it's not the main story. It should be how one single guy was able to uncover all this. So mind you that what he did by asking an audit on how these funds were used by itself is already extraordinary. His audit was accepted. Now we're waiting until the end of February, because the metropolitan government has actually asked this organization to send back all the receipts, because they already suspect a misuse of this fund. They suspect it, because otherwise they wouldn't ask. And so this story will go on, and we're going to continue write about it. Check my updates in English. And this past week, it's been trending continuously for days and days, especially in a moment like now, when you have a government asking for more money from Japanese taxpayer to fund a raising of the budget for the military. Now, Kishida, the Japanese government, could be anybody. It doesn't matter who is there. They should do what this internet user is doing. And that is go and verify all your costs. If you're an agency, if you're a company, you look at what the cost you can cut. And then possibly there's waste in the way you're using your money. So why don't you start cutting some costs? Why is the government not doing that? There's no lack of workers in the public sector. Definitely not in Japan. It's not a matter of lack of resources. As this guy by himself, nobody's paying him. He's doing is recovering all this data and he's comparing what are the expenses, what is this money used for. So why can the public worker do the same? And maybe it will turn out that the Japanese government, instead of raising taxes, could actually cut a lot of costs. It would have exactly the same results, so that if you need to raise the budget for the military, well, maybe you don't even need to raise taxes.